He stood at the edge of the training field, his posture straight, his grip firm on the old wooden stock of a rifle that seemed to belong in a museum more than in his calloused hands. The crowd of young Marines shifted uneasily. They had seen modern weapons, sleek and polished, but nothing like the relic this man carried. Even the CEO who had funded this special demonstration leaned forward in his chair, whispering something to the colonel beside him. And then, without warning, the single-dad veteran pulled the bolt back, chambered around into the World War II rifle, and squeezed the trigger. The crack echoed across the field, sharp and raw, cutting through the laughter, the whispers, and the doubt. In that instant, the air changed. Silence fell like a blanket. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. All eyes locked on the man they had underestimated. His name was Jack Harris. A single father, a veteran, and a man most had written off as yesterday's soldier. He wasn't the tallest in the room, nor the youngest, but he carried a quiet strength born from years of sacrifice, sacrifice in war, and sacrifice at home. He had left the battlefield long ago, but his battles hadn't ended. They had only changed. His wife had walked out when their daughter was barely 6 months old, leaving Jack to raise her alone. Between his night shifts, odd jobs, and veterans therapy sessions, the rifle had been his only reminder of a world that demanded everything from him but gave so little back. It had belonged to his grandfather, who carried it through the storm of Normandy, and Jack kept it not as a weapon but as a promise, to never give up, no matter how much life pressed him down. The Marines had gathered that day for a demonstration of leadership and skill. A wealthy CEO had sponsored the event, hoping to showcase the latest weapons technology, and Jack had been invited almost as a novelty, an old soldier with an outdated rifle, standing among a generation that relied on lasers, drones, and automation. Many had smirked when he walked onto the field. A few had even laughed under their breath. What could a single dad with an antique rifle possibly teach them? But when that first shot rang out, and the dust lifted from the ground where the bullet struck with pinpoint accuracy, the mood shifted. Jack lowered the rifle slowly, his breathing calm, his eyes steady. "It's not the weapon that makes the warrior," he said, his voice carrying with the weight of truth. "It's the heart behind the trigger." The Marines stared, some visibly shaken, others wide-eyed. The CEO, once leaning back with arrogance, now sat forward, his jaw tight. Jack didn't pause. He raised the rifle again and fired, once, twice, 3 times, each round slamming into the same target, forming a perfect group so precise it seemed unreal. The silence deepened, not from doubt but from awe. These young men and women had spent weeks perfecting their marksmanship with weapons half the weight and twice the accuracy, yet none had shown control like this. When the last shot faded into the horizon, Jack set the rifle down and looked at the crowd. "Technology will fail you," he said quietly. "Strength will fade. But what you hold here," he tapped his chest over his heart, "will never leave you if you choose to honor it. That's what makes a Marine. That's what makes a leader. And that's what makes a father who refuses to quit, no matter the odds." For a moment, no one clapped. No one dared to break the spell. Then, slowly, one Marine stood. His salute was sharp, respectful. Another followed. Then another. Within seconds, the entire field stood at attention, saluting not a rifle, not a relic, but the man who had just reminded them what courage really meant. The CEO, his voice suddenly stripped of its usual bravado, cleared his throat. "Mr. Harris," he said, standing, "I came here today to see if tradition still had a place in modern warfare. You've shown me that tradition isn't just alive, it's the backbone of everything we stand for." His tone softened. "Your daughter must be proud." Jack blinked, his throat tightening. He thought of the nights spent reading bedtime stories by flashlight after double shifts, the lunches packed with love but little money, the tears he'd hidden so she would never see his struggle. Proud. He hoped so. Everything he had done, every sacrifice, had been for her future. As the Marines and officers dispersed, many approached him, shaking his hand, asking about the rifle, asking about his story. But Jack wasn't thinking of glory or recognition. He was thinking of the small face that would be waiting for him at home, the little girl who believed her dad was the strongest man in the world. And in that moment, with silence still lingering in the air and respect glowing in the eyes of men and women half his age, Jack finally believed it too. "So, if you're still watching this, let me tell you something. Don't ever measure yourself by what the world hands you. Don't let their laughter or doubt decide your worth. Whether you're carrying the newest weapon or the oldest burden, it's your heart that tells the story. Jack Harris didn't just fire a World War II rifle that day, he fired a reminder into the soul of everyone watching, a reminder that courage doesn't age, and love never quits. And if his story touched you, don't let it end here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to remember that their fight, their sacrifice, and their heart matter. Because somewhere out there, another single dad, another Marine, another dreamer is holding on by a thread, and maybe your share is the shot they need to keep going.